have to? Do I really have to talk about this? I really don't want to. Because it's just going to make me angry at corporate. But since I'm reviewing every Marvel movie and TV show that I haven't already reviewed previously, I guess I have no choice. As much as I really, really don't want to. Yeah, I don't want to talk about this, but unfortunately, I even have to go through the bad ones, so let's just get this over with nice and quick. That way we can all go back to forgetting this movie even exists and just continue to be mad at Marvel and Disney for treating this actress the way that they did. Welcome back to Cynicism Station. Welcome back to Marvelous May. Welcome back to Black Widow. The first movie of Phase 4 of the MCU, and a pretty freaking terrible one. Not 100% the movie's fault, but because of the absolute shit hand it was dealt. Now, a Black Widow solo movie sounds like an amazing project, right? Because she's such a great character, played by a great actress, and it should be an instant win, right? Well, Marvel and Disney decided to drag their damn feet and release this at the worst time they possibly could have, after the character's death in Endgame. Yeah, really stupid decision that thankfully ended up biting them in the ass. Because after this, Scarlett Johansson left Marvel for good. And I don't blame her, because if I was getting this much disrespect in my own movie, I'd tell them to piss off as well. Now, does that mean everything in this movie is bad? No. Not every single thing in this movie is terrible. But a grand majority of it is just a rushed out mess that Marvel half-assed out of obligation more than anything else. Like, if they'd put this movie, like, after Infinity War and before Endgame, it probably would have worked a little better. But because they put it so long after the timeline, and after the character's death, it just feels like a movie made out of obligation more than actual passion for the character or the actress. This is one of those many, many times where Disney and Marvel decide to let their corporate side show and make this movie as just a plain, flat-out cash grab, with little to no fucking passion whatsoever from anyone involved. Now, there is some passion, particularly from two characters that we'll talk about again when we get to Thunderbolts, but for Black Widow herself, you can tell that she was genuinely upset at Marvel and Disney. And I can't say that I blame her. So, let's just get through this written review, talk about the good, talk about the many, many bad, and talk about how Disney and Marvel completely screwed over the actress and the character in the worst way possible. Here's my review for Black Widow. If you find this movie okay, I respect your opinion, but just the whole corporate thing outside of that just really pisses me off. So, here we go. Enjoy. You ever have one of those movies that just makes you feel sad to talk about? Well, this is one of those for me. It's a movie that feels too little too late and just makes me feel sad, even thinking about it at all, especially after the awful way Disney and Marvel treated Scarlett Johansson. Black Widow is a painfully below-average bore that feels corporately cynical and outright unnecessary. Yes, I love the additions of Florence Pugh's Yelena Belova, however you pronounce that, and David Harbour's excellent new take on Red Guardian, and how they interacted with Widow throughout. All those interactions with those three characters, best part of the movie, by a freaking landslide. The pacing is okay. It's not great, but it's at least consistent, and the emotional ending does land pretty well, where you have, Yelena at the end with that same whistle that her and her sister made like their trademark calling card to each other. But the action is generic. Taskmaster sucks big time as a villain. I've said this a lot in these MCU reviews, and I'm going to say it again. The MCU has a massive villain problem, and this is no exception. Even though, again, they do somewhat fix it in Thunderbolts. To an extent. The story is an absolute mess. It's supposed to be like a prequel to Black Widow's story before she ended up joining the MCU, but trying to actually fit it into the MCU is just a headache and a half. The writing is lifeless, and poor Black Widow herself is just given nothing to work with, as she's stuck with some of the worst dialogue in the entire MCU, which turns her into a secondary character in her own movie as she's outshined by both her sister and Red Guardian. That is inexcusable. This didn't feel like a movie made out of passion for the character. Instead, everything feels like obnoxious, egregious corporate spite all the way through. It should have been something great and genuinely fun. But instead, Marvel half-assed it out of obligation and put it in the worst freaking spot that they could have put it. No wonder Scarlett Johansson left Marvel for good after that, because this is as disrespectful of a send-off as you can get. Seriously, this is as disrespectful as you could possibly get. It is a huge shame all around, and Disney should be absolutely ashamed of themselves for treating Scarlett so poorly after all she's done for them. Plain and simple. Disney, screw you for treating her the way that you treated her. And this movie just feels like too little too late. Even with its good ideas, it's nowhere near enough to save it. It's a movie that should have been great, but because Marvel half-assed it in every single capacity and kept delaying it and delaying it and delaying it and delaying it until the character was already fucking dead, it just makes it feel lifeless, pointless, and as a desperate cash grab. And is one of the worst examples of how Phase 4 continued to nosedive off a cliff. And that's literally all I have to say. Final verdict for this absolute bore and extreme, egregious, corporate, spiteful, disappointing garbage is a 3.5 out of 10. It could be passable, but when you add in that added context, it just makes it even more hateable. Black Widow, and Scarlett Johansson for that matter, deserved better than this shit. Will it get any better? I don't know. I'll see you next time for Shang-Chi. That's going to be a first time watch too. Hopefully it's as decent as everyone says it is. See you next time. Bye.